be irresponsible for me to say that it's all amazing, it's all glory, it's all learning, it's all fun. Yes, it's many of those things, but you do have to be responsible with your mind, bodies, and emotions. Otherwise, they can get the better of you quite easily.
Shabashi, 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 shabashi.
2 years back, having breakfast with wife, I fainted.
By the end of 2020, I got COVID. Recovered within the standard 2 weeks, but I started putting on a lot of weight. Shabashi, 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 shabashi.
I was 38 years old 5 years ago. I had hiatus hernia, hypothyroidism, fatty liver, asthma, and arthritis. And all of it, all at the same time, and life was not looking good. If I lived that life for another few years, I would have probably popped.
Say what I say and do what I do.
We did all the checkups, including MRIs, and nobody had clue what happened.
And by 21 May, I was wide enough to cover half a Creta.
And I was deep in my startup, and I'm like, the world is my oyster, and I'm young, and I'll just care about my life and health later. Clearly, life had other plans, and at 38 said, hey, you gotta focus on this now.
But then one of my friends suggested that he knows very good Ayurveda doctor. Why don't you just meet and talk to him?
And that's when a friend introduced me to intermittent fasting.
So in the mid part of 2020, I did a few changes to my life. I became plant-based exclusively.
So I met the doctor, I just told what happened, and he said, you know what, your body is reacting to protein, some of the protein, and it's called autoimmune syndrome. So you just change some of your diet. So some of the stuff we eat, body thinks that it is a foreign particle, a foreign body, and it reacts.
I embraced yoga.
So I understood the thought process behind it. That, you have a prana in your body. It's the life force, but it can only do one of the two things that it does. One is it digests your food, or it heals you.
I embraced meditation. I embraced pranayama. I also brought in intermittent fasting into my life.
All he gave me is small tablet to consume every day. In 6 months, I was all right.
I also decided to part ways with my previous organization where I felt a lot of the stress and negativity was getting onto me.
So I adopted intermittent fasting. It took time for the body to adjust, but I started seeing results. About 6-7 kilos went down within the first 7 months or so.
And I started on this new way of working by the latter half of 2020. And within 6 months, you will not believe it, I reversed all of these things other than asthma, which also I went to from daily puffs to like once a week or once in 2 week puffs. Today I'm at SOS once or twice a year. And all the other things have cleared completely. No medicines, no medication of any type, some plant-based medication, Ayurveda, but no allopathy or any of it. So I realized the power of our own bodies to heal. And in the entrepreneurial journey, if we just say, fuck it, we'll figure it out later, that later is going to creep up on you and you're going to be pretty screwed, was my realization. I have a few suggestions I wrote down of things I do, and I'd love to talk about them at any point over these coming days. But just thoughts that people can put on their lists if they're curious and try them. Has anybody heard of a activity called grounding? Yeah, it's basically just literally every day you wake up and walk barefoot on grass or on the beach if you have access. Just walk. Another one is just sunbathing for 15 to 20 minutes every day. Most of us these days, when we go get our blood work done, we have vitamin D and B12 deficiency. Some of this can be easily overcome by going back to some old practices, like taking in fresh sunlight, right? Here you notice there's a certain type of food served to you every day. It's not by accident that it's simple, plant-based, not crazy spicy, because that's the food that, our body needs. The food that gets you out of a hospital is the food you need, not the food that gets you there, right? So we're basically serving hospital food that's tasty to keep you out of the hospital. A lot of people don't put a lot of faith in this, but who you surround yourself and how cathartic conversations you have, whether it's a therapist or it's a friend, and that's been really helpful for me. This one didn't come naturally to me, but when my doctor said, You need to sing more. Like, what's that got to do with being sick? He says, no, if you sing more, it heals your heart chakra and your throat chakra, and you need to do that. And I didn't put a lot of faith in it, but in my mind, somewhere it stuck. And now sometimes if anybody puts a dash cam in my car, I'm singing sometimes. Not well, but I sing sometimes. And then I do art with my kids, which is a lot of fun. I suck. My 10-year-old is much better than me, but it's fun. And guess what? We're organizing some art here too, and some of you will be like, no, what's this got to do with anything? Give it a try. It'll change something in you. And then the last one, and this is the hardest one, our ego. Everything that happens around us, our ego intercepts that information and then inserts a whole bunch of thoughts. And she talked about pain bodies, and they're just these loops in your head and you just go nuts. So how do we train our ego to intercept a lot of this information? And stuff like what Alon said, like just be positive, be relaxed, be more accepting, like water off the back of a duck. Let that be a thought I pause with, and just something for you to consider. Taking care of our mental, physical, emotional well-being is also key part of this journey. You're not going to be successful entrepreneurs if you ignore that, is my humble suggestion to all of you.
Join build3.